belief is an acceptance that something is true, even if there's no proof. And here's the scary part. Your beliefs could be shaping your mental health, your growth, and even your company's culture without you even realizing it. So today we're diving into how beliefs can make or break you, and how they can make or break organizations. When I was younger, I believed my neighbor was a witch. It's really funny. If my football went into a garden, my brother and I would literally crawl through bushes, Mission Impossible style, just to get it back, because in our minds we actually thought if she saw us it would be the end of our lives and we'd get into so much trouble. Of course she wasn't a witch, she was just a cranky old lady, but that belief shaped my behavior for years. And that's the thing about beliefs, they don't have to be true to control you. Recently, I was speaking with someone who was completely stressed out, like honestly it was so chaotic. And I offered to help, and she replied, "I'm old, you can't change us, we're set in our ways." That hit me, not because she rejected my help, but because she was locked in a belief that she couldn't change, and as long as she believed that, she was right. Beliefs guide everything. How you run your home, how you eat, exercise, and work, even who you think belongs where. Some are useful, like, no, I'm learning every day. That keeps you curious and resilient, but others not so much. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Life should only be lived in one way. I already know everything. How many times have you heard people say any of those above? It's actually common, which is quite frightening. And let's be honest, we've all had silly beliefs too. Like when I was younger, I used to believe chewing gum stayed in my stomach for 7 years. I nearly cried once because I swallowed one by accident. And I also used to believe that adults had it all figured out, and I think a lot of us did. But then now I'm becoming an adult and I'm like, oh my god, this is so not true. And my mom used to make me do this all the time. She was like, you can't wash your hair on a Wednesday because it's something really bad. So I used to believe that, like, oh my god, my hair would never be great. So I never washed my hair on a Wednesday. No backing for this. But these examples seem small, but they show how beliefs quietly run our lives. And here's what's fascinating. Beliefs aren't just ideas. They're literally wired into our brains. Every time you repeat a belief, your brain strengthens that neural pathway, like carving a deeper and deeper trench in the ground. That's why people stay stuck. It's not willpower, it's wiring. And your brain loves confirmation bias. Once you believe something, it hunts for evidence to prove you right. If you believe you're unlucky, you'll start to notice every single bad thing. But if you believe you're learning, you'll spot lessons everywhere. Beliefs are like glasses you wear. They color how you see the world. Beliefs directly shape your attitude. Imagine two people missing a deadline. One believes, I'm a failure, so they go into stress, anxiety, and shame spiral. Another believes, mistakes are how I learn. Resilience, problem solving, growth. Honestly, I've become the one that I just learn from my mistakes because that's the entrepreneurial life. But it's the same event, different belief, and different life. I've seen it happen with so many people, and this applies to organizations too. I've approached companies before with ideas to improve well-being and performance, and I've heard, no, that's not how we work. Not because it wouldn't help, but because their culture is tied to a belief this is the only way. Corporate firms that have been around for centuries often have a hierarchical or autocratic culture. You can't speak to a leader unless you're on a certain level. Honestly, people used to get shocked when they used to find out how I used to have banter with the partners at KPMG. But that belief, the hierarchy equals control, might have worked 100 years ago. But today, it's damaging. It blocks innovation and it kills well-being and it drives people out. Let's look at AI. Every day, there's a new feature, a new way of working. If you believed 20 years ago that computers are just a fad, where would you be now? Organizations that cling to beliefs like we don't need to adapt are the ones that collapse. Blockbuster believes streaming wouldn't take off. Let's look at where Netflix is, Disney, Amazon. How many streaming sites do you use now? But Netflix did prove them wrong. Beliefs aren't just personal. They decide who survives as well in business. But now, let's take it to an extreme example. Let's take hostage negotiation. The person holding someone hostage believes it's the only way to be heard. The negotiator's job isn't to argue, it's to carefully shift that belief, because if they fail, someone could die. By the way, this example's come up because I just love crime show series. But that's how powerful beliefs are. They're literally life or death in some situations. Beliefs are also central to your mental health. If you believe you're weak or worthless, you'll spiral into stress, anxiety, and burnout. If you believe you're capable, adaptable, and learning, you'll develop resilience and self-worth. That's the difference between a lot of entrepreneurs as well. You'll see that. Your mind becomes the environment you live in. Beliefs decide whether it's a prison or it's a playground. You want to be on the playground. Honestly, so much fun, especially since I've shifted my perspective. So how do you shift a belief? Here's a simple tool I call the Belief Audit. Write down the belief you'd hold. Ask, is this serving me or sabotaging me? Then, where did this come from? Parents, school, workplace, culture. Which one is it? But now replace it with one that fuels growth. For example, let's say I'm not confident. Flip it. Confidence is a skill and I'm learning it every day. That belief automatically changed. Can you see that? But this sounds simple, but when you do it consistently, you literally rewire your brain. And that's what you have to do with beliefs. I do this, honestly. I've gone through a lot of my beliefs and rewired a lot of them now. So let's give you an example. For years, people believed the human body couldn't run a mile in under 4 minutes. Doctors even said it was impossible. Imagine doctors. Then in 1954, Roger Bannister did it. And within a year, dozens of others broke it too. Why? Because the belief had changed. The barrier was never physical, it was mental. So let me leave you with this. Your beliefs are the silent scripts running in the background of your life. If you don't question them, they'll control you. But if you challenge them, you unlock freedom. If you believe you're not confident, I've got a course to help with that. If you're burnt out, I've got a course and a journal to help you with that. But here's the truth, the choice is yours. Because if you believe you can't change, then I can't help you. And nor can anyone else. But if you believe you can, then hit that follow button and let's grow together. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.